This edition of the prime time newscast in the English language and Canal International. I'm called Morinzi. We begin with our top stories. Is high in ESO, a Fondom, Menchum division of the Northwest region of Cameroon, as a community rejects a press release from the Menchum SDO requesting that persons interested to ascend a vacant ESO kingdom throne forward their application of files to him, what the ESO caretaker committee have rejected, describing it as a provocative and totally against the laws of the land. And the Association of Sawa Traditional Chiefs in the Wari division have expressed worries over the bad state of roads in the Wari division, which they say deteriorates by the day and increase the risk of road accidents. Some music artists have decried or staged a strike action in Yaoundé to decry the little amount they receive as authors of rights. They are accusing particularly the Commission of drastically reducing the funds destined for them. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Tension is high in ESO, Fondom Menchum division of the Northwest region of Cameroon, as the community rejects a press release from the Menchum senior divisional officer requesting that persons interested to ascend the vacant ESO kingdom throne forward their application files to him, what the ESO caretaker committee have described or rejected, describing it as a provocation and totally against the laws of the land. The ESO Cultural and Development Association organized a press conference in that light in Douala that was over the weekend. More in the following story. They remain bitter and have waged war on the senior divisional officer of Menchum, Abdullahi Aliu, if he fails to backpedal on the recent communique wherein he said persons interested to become the king of Isu should submit letters of application to him, from which he will appoint a king to sit on a vacant throne in the kingdom of Isu. The custodians of tradition see this as a violation of the laws of the land and provocation to the people of Isu.
The chairman had consulted him many times, but he turned down a lot of vital information. And now he writes and sends to him, like telling him, if you don't do like this, I'll get people from my docket and I nominate them, I vote them. So it sounds a provocation.
What does the text say? That in the absence, where there is a vacancy, you should immediately. The time period is indeterminate because it did not make mention. There is no specified period. The law has not said 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
In a press conference in Douala, June 17, the chairman of the caretaker committee of Cultural and Development, Reverend Dr. Mi Clement Kum Kablisius, being representative of the King of Isu in Littoral South, and the legal counsel, Barrister Kum Charles, the national president of youth wing of the Isu Cultural and Development Association, have all rebuked Menchum Ezio for stopping a peaceful gathering amongst the Isu people meant to deliberate on issues related to the vacant throne of Isu.
Withdrawn. He did not go lost. He was killed. And because of the wounds on him, the ancestors, they are very desperate people. They don't want to see a wound on somebody. Somebody must be perfect to succeed them.
And talking about enthronement procedure.
To the royal family. And ask the royal family, we need a fund.
While waiting for the ACO to regain his senses and act according to the laws that governs chieftains in Cameroon, the custodians of tradition of Isu maintain they will continue to press for the respect of the laws and tradition of Isu land. It should be noted the throne has been vacant over a year now after the chief was killed and his killers yet to be identified. And we also caught up with a representative of the king of Isu in the littoral south. He talks on the enthronement, custom as practice in the kingdom of Isu. Let's take a listen.
No, the problem that we are facing now is that our chief was brutally assassinated. That is a real problem. It's assassination. When the throne is vacant now like this, there is a traditional council come for us now to look for a fund. Then there are institutions that will come together and take care of that. The normal procedure is that this institute together go now to the royal family and ask the royal family, we need a fund. So we have overstayed that we need a fund. And then the royal family now, within themselves, will also have their own meeting because there are two different compounds, up and down. So when they will sit together now, they will set an order where they already know that the fund will come from this now. They will say, give us a fund. There are some changes because in other villages, they have only one family. In our own village, we have two families. The relationship between the government and the chiefs and the village is that when we present our fund to the administration, the administration now will also give him his own guide how the fund will work together with them. They don't impose us to give a fund. But it may be there are some laws that they want that the fund must follow up. The fund now will have to follow. Since the government has never imposed that in issue, I cannot say what will happen now. We have been hearing that some people are constating because they have put a fund that is not their choice.
The Association of Sawa Traditional Rulers in the Wuri Division have expressed worries over the bad state of roads in the Wuri Division, which say deteriorate by the day and increase the risk of road accidents. At the press briefing in Douala today, traditional rulers also deployed the growing darkness in the streets of Douala that leaves the population in a high state of insecurity. They equally noted with dismay how families are struggling to survive with the rising inflation, but nonetheless commended women who promote the local traditional sour meal ndole, which is now ranked a 47th best dish in the world. The Association of Sour Traditional Rulers have therefore called on government to seek solutions to the high cost of living in Cameroon. And a picture of Adolphe Ngoso Odin, one of Cameroon's nationalists, henceforth amongst other emblematic figures of the National Museum. This is an instrument of the head of state, Paul Biya. A ceremony to that effect to sanctify the hero took place in Douala over the weekend and chaired by Littoral's Governor Samuel Dodone Ifahadibwa. Gladys Amodiban completes her story for us.
It's been more than a century since Adolphe Ngoso was executed alongside Douala Mangabel on June 17, 2023. His picture received traditional blessings in Douala.
This picture is not a simple one. Before it arrives here, it has received traditional anointing.
At the ceremony to sanctify the emblematic figure who fought for the freedom of Cameroon from German grip, the Gosonding Association and the Ngondo commended the head of state's decision to have his picture placed amongst other national heroes at the National Museum.
This traditional and cultural event is timely, coming at a period we are preparing for Tete Kombo on August 8. This will permit organizers to be proactive in 4 other communities to celebrate Douala Mangabel, Adolphe Ngoso and Martin Paul Samba, including all other victims of 8 August 1914 freedom fight. The picture of Ngoso will is amongst other emblematic figures at the national meeting.
Fiercely against the expropriation of land by the German administration, who accused him of high treason and sentenced him to death.
He has chosen to defend the Cameroonian interest. And the principal role was also to be the ambassador of the people of Douala and of Cameroon in Berlin. in order to obtain from German government to abandon, to give up this criminal project. Adam Gosodin has demonstrated his role as a hero and as a martyr of our country.
He was assassinated at his very young age and would forever be remembered for his unshakable faith in the cause he led.
Some music artists declared a rather of drastically reducing the funds this time for them, an action which lasted for a short while as they were received by the Prime Minister promising to seek solutions to their problem. More with Haisencha.
The over 30 music artists stormed the gate of the Prime Minister's office during the early hours of this Monday, disgruntled over what they termed the non-payment of their rights.
We are not happy because the person that is there leading our corporation is not working with the artists because he is not our patron. He is our servant. We are the boss, the artists, because we put him there to go and fight for our rights. But he is still fighting, working with the civil servant. But he is still coming to come and put the artists in misery. They have been doing it for so long.
The amount of money they are demanding, quite huge.
We have 90 million now that we don't know where the 90 million is. That's just the money we are looking for now. For about 30 years that I'm Prince Ayafo, I've been doing music for 30 years. I've not been receiving any money from Sonacam or any authors' right company.
And here at the commission in charge of control and management of artists' rights in Cameroon, they rubbish such claims, stating that a few actors are simply exercising bad faith geared towards destroying the sector.
Vous comprenez que ce sont ceux qui ont...
This is the camp of those who lost elections on December 12, 2020 that continue to cause disorder everywhere. All this disorder is led by Sam Bende and Jean-Pierre Somé, manipulating Cameroonian artists for their good. We just distributed money to artists and we have scheduled another phase before the start of the new school year. So we don't understand why this hatred and anger. If they have a hidden agenda, they should go elsewhere.
The
leaders of the striking group received by the Prime Minister Joseph John Gauthier, and they came out hopefully with promises to share.
Voilà, la semaine prochaine, il va convoquer toutes les parties. Donc c'est la bonne nouvelle.
This unfortunate drama is unfolding at the eve of the World Music Day, celebrated every year on June 21st.
And June 19 each year is observed as a World Day for the fight against sickle cell. A day aimed at creating awareness and spreading information as well as challenges faced by patients and their families in Cameroon. About 6,000 newborns are diagnosed of sickle cell disease. We also saw a sickle cell warrior battling with the disease for 57 years. Let's watch.
According to statistics from organizations that fight against 60% of Cameroonians living with the disease, they have urged the government to act fast by imposing a law that warrants all Cameroonians to know their status before marriage.
One of the reasons why more children are being born with sickle cell is because of ignorance. Most parents don't do the test before the electrophoresis test before getting married, and so they end up having children ignorantly. It's also because there is no newborn screening. In some countries, there's screening at birth.
This staggering figure has pushed non-profitable organizations like the Ashu Egbe Foundation to come up with a concept dubbed Know Your Status.
Our organization, the Ashu Egbe Foundation, is targeting a youth so they can know their genotype, take the electrophoresis test, know their genotype before marriage, and take informed decisions.
Besides ensuring Cameroonians know their status, the Sickle Cell Foundation also have specific obligations towards patients constantly in crisis through the Sickle Cell Clinic.
At the level of sickle cell management, we operate what we call sickle cell clinics, where sickle cell patients go there for regularly once a month to have some controlled blood tests, talk to the doctor. If there's
problem, it can be early detected and solved. So it's helping a lot because most patients who have been attending the clinic have gone for years without having a painful crisis, without hospitalization.
Sickle cell disease remains a public health concern. It affects 5% of the world population. 30% of those suffering from the disease die prematurely before reaching adulthood. Asho Egbe himself is close to 60. He has been battling hard to overcome the crisis. The World Bank and local authorities are taking measures to take off the population from risky zones to safe areas together with the Ministry of Economic Planning and Regional Development. They visited some of the risky neighborhoods in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, this weekend to uncover some of the realities of the misery plaguing the inhabitants. More in the following story.
It is an adventure into the difficult neighborhood of Cliquez, Yaoundé 5 Council area. The delegation of the World Bank, led by the Director General in charge of administration, accompanied by the Minister Delegate at the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Paul Tasson, visiting the flooded locality to evaluate the evolution of the World Bank Social Assistance Program launched 2 years back.
Get a feel on the realities of poverty, I should say urban poverty, in Cameroon. From the comfort of our offices, we may not exactly know what obtains on the ground. But when we come down to the people and touch and feel it, then we are better prepared to elaborate and propose economic policies that, beside the quest for economic growth, should at the same time pay sufficient attention to the realities, to the daily realities of the people of Cameroon.
An occasion for the mayor to reveal the enormous challenges involved in touching the lives of the common population.
I think that is the opportunity for us to demonstrate what we are facing every day, because all those populations are coming to us every day in order to express their problems, and we are obliged to bring solutions. So it's very important for the government and for the World Bank to see what the mayors in Cameroon have as work, because it's too much work.
Members of the delegation also got reports from some of the 1,000 beneficiaries of the project on the activities set up with the grants to be able to generate income and better their lives.
And that was a report by High Censure, and that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next is the brief from Mark Shamo. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.